In our previous session, we have seen how to access the IP address and also we have displayed the IP address. Okay, using this we have just displayed the IP address. You can see here I am having this IP address. Now I am just going to comment this out. Okay, we have seen how to display this IP address. Now using this IP address, we are just going to store that related information, and using this IP address itself, we are going to access the information of the user. Okay, now as of now I am not going to call this function here. Now we are going to work on cart functionality. So inside this home page here I am having this button. Whenever I click on this add to cart button, I should be redirected to add to cart page. But in this we are not going to create any cart file. Directly inside index.php itself, using get variables we are going to work. Okay, now if I just show you the demo, now when I click on this add to cart, you can see I am inside index.php only. Here I am having add to cart, that is the get variable, and here I am having this product ID. Okay, now inside this index.php only we are going to work. Now as soon as I click on OK, you can see that item will be added inside the cart. Now when I click on cart, this item will be added inside the cart. Okay, this is how we are going to work with cart. I'll just come here. Now first we are going to write function for this. Now inside common function.php, below this function we have written this get IP address. Now below this function, here I am just going to write here cart function. Okay, as we have already discussed, each and every user will be having their own unique IP addresses. Now using their IP address, we are just going to fetch the data, related data, and that data we are going to display, or that data we are going to send for the user payment. Okay, now you don't have to get confused. Now once we write this function, you will understand this in more better way. Now here I am just going to create the function. I'll just give the function name as cart. Now if I call this function, I should be having some information with me. So here I'll just come to get products function. Okay, now inside this, whenever we call this function, we are just displaying all the data. Now inside this I'm having this add to cart button. Now inside href, I'll just give here index.php. I'll create the get variable as add to cart. Okay, you can give any variable name, and inside this I'm just going to store this product ID. Whatever ID we are having for that product, I'm just going to store that one. I'll just paste that ID here. I'll save this. I'll just come here. I'll refresh this one. Now whenever I click on this add to cart button, you can see I'm redirected to index.php, and here I'm having add to cart is equal to 2. Okay, whatever ID that product is having, that will be displayed for me. Now I am having some information. Now using this information, we are going to store the data inside the database. Okay, let me just tell you how to do that. Now wherever I am having this add to cart button, I'll just copy this entire button, and wherever I am having this add to cart, I am just going to paste the same button. Okay, here we are having this. I'll just paste that one. Okay, I have just passed this index.php, this get variable, and for this get variable I have just assigned this product ID. Then here also I am having this one. I'll just paste that one here. Then below this I'll be pasting that one. Then we are having here, okay, wherever we are having, you just paste that one here. I'll paste here. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's it. I have pasted in all the pages. I'll come here. I'll refresh this one. Now I'll just come to products page. Now I'm inside display all.php. Now when I click on add to cart, you can see I'm redirected to index.php, and here I'm having add to cart, and also I'm having this product ID. Okay, now inside this function, first I'm just going to check this condition. Okay, we have seen how to check for that. If is set get method, and inside this I'm just going to pass this add to cart. Okay, whatever variable we have created, I'll just copy this one, and here I'm just going to paste. Okay, I'm just telling that if this get variable is set, only then perform all these operations. Okay, now whatever I'm writing inside this one, only then we have to perform. Now here I'm just going to create. Okay, in the same way, first I'll be writing here global, and inside this we just have to make our connection variable as global, because in each and every function we are just making this connection variable as global, because we are having this connection variable inside separate file. Now if we want to use inside function, we are just making that connection variable as global. Now here I have just made that one. Now below this I'm just going to call this function. Okay, I'll just copy this one. There I have just created one IP address. Okay, whatever code we were having previously, I have just copied this first line. Okay, here we are having one variable IP, and inside this I'm just calling this function. Now we have seen the result for that. We were getting this result colon colon 1. Okay, now this result will be stored inside this variable. I'll just remove this. Now below this I just have to access the value of this one. Okay, add to cart value I have to access. So here I'm just going to create one variable. I'll just write here get product ID. Get product ID. Inside this I'll be writing here get method, and inside this I'm just going to pass this add to cart. Okay, this is the get variable. Whatever is present inside the URL, I'm just passing that one. I'll just come here. Now whatever value I'm having here 5, that will be accessed using this one, using get method, and that value will be stored inside this variable. And inside this I'm calling this function. So whatever value I'm getting from here, that will be stored inside this variable. Here first let me just remove this one. Below this I am just going to write the query. I'll just write here select query. I'm just going to write select star from table name. I just want to select all the data from the table cart details, and here I am just giving the condition where IP address, okay, I have given the column name as IP address is equal to this variable. Okay, if whatever value I am having inside the IP address, if this is equal to this one, using this AND operator I am just going to access the product ID, and also I am just going to check for this product ID is equal to this one. Okay, I'll just explain you what is this. Okay, this is how we are going to write. What I am telling is, now suppose user has entered 5 datas, okay, 5 products inside the database. I am just fetching all the data from the cart details. Now I have logged in for this website and I have ordered 5 items. Now I will be having some IP address inside my system, and that IP address will be stored inside the database as well. Okay, if this IP address, whatever I have logged in, if that IP address is present inside the database, it is going to fetch that result. And using this AND operator, it is going to check for the product ID, if that product ID is available inside the database or not. If both this condition matches, only then it is going to fetch the result. If any one condition fails, then it is not going to fetch the result. Now suppose I am having the same product ID, but here I am having the different IP address. It is not going to fetch the data because it is going to check for both the conditions. If any one fails, then it will not fetch any record from the database. Now here once we write the query, we have to execute this query. So for that let me just come here. I'll just copy this one. I'll just paste. Okay, I'm just fetching those records. If this IP address matches with this one and also this product ID we have seen, once we have written the query, we are just executing that one. Okay, using this MySQL method, we are just executing that. I'll just copy this. Let me just paste again. Okay, here we are having proper spelling. Okay, this is how we are going to execute. Now here I am just going to check the number of rows. I'll just come here. I'll copy this. We have done this already, so I am not wasting time in typing. Now using this MySQL num method, I am just going to fetch the number of rows. Okay, if I am getting some result from here, I am just going to fetch how many results I got. If I am having any records here, suppose I am having 1. So it is going to count the number of rows and it will store inside this one. Now here I will just remove this one. Now I will be writing if it is greater than 0. Now suppose I am having 1. 1 means this item is already stored inside the cart. Again I don't have to insert that item inside the cart. Now first I am just going to store inside the database. Okay, now that data will be stored inside the database. Now again if I just try to insert the same data inside the database, I should be getting some result that this item is already present inside the database. So here first I am just fetching all the record. If this is present, then here I am just checking for the condition. Okay, if I am having some records, I should just display this. Okay, let me just remove this one. Instead of this, I will be writing here script tag. I will just close the script tag. And here inside this alert, I am just going to write that one, alert. Okay, if you are getting confused, I am going to explain you again. You don't have to worry. This item is already present inside the database. You can write inside the database or inside cart. Okay, whatever you want you can write. I'll be writing here inside cart. Okay, for better understanding. If I am getting this, if I am getting some result from here, which means that this data is already present. So here I just have to display this one. So once I get this message and once I click on OK, I should be redirected to index.php file. So here I'll be writing echo, and inside this again I'll be writing here script tag. I'll just close the script tag here. Now inside this, here I will be writing here window.open, and inside this curly braces I should be redirected to index.php file. Here I will be writing index.php. Okay, this is how you are going to write. I will save this. I will come here. I will just show you the demo of this. I will refresh this one. I will come to home. Now apple and mango are already added. Now again when I click on mango, you can see this item is already added into the cart. I will just click on OK. As soon as I click on OK, I am redirected to index.php file, and also I am present in the same tab. So for that we can just write here self. Okay, if you want to write blank, that also you can write. It completely depends on your requirement. I am just writing here self. I just want to open in the same tab. I don't want to go to the new tab. So here I am just writing that condition. Else, if this item is not present inside the database, then I have to add this item. I'll just write here insert query. Insert query. Here I'll be writing insert into cart details. Here I will be writing product ID. I will just change the spelling here. I will be writing insert, and I just want to insert product ID, and also I just want to insert the cart details. Product ID, and I just want to insert IP address. So here I will be writing IP address. Okay, if you want to insert quantity, then also you can do that one. Let me just insert the quantity as well. I will just write here quantity. Then here I will be writing values. I will just write here values, and inside this first I am just going to pass this product ID. My product ID is stored inside this variable. I will just copy this one, and inside this I am just going to paste that one. Okay, it is integer, so I don't have to wrap inside single quotes or double quotes. Then next I just have to access this IP address. My IP address is stored inside this variable. Okay, now for better understanding, let me just write here get IP address. I will copy this variable, and here I am just going to I will just paste that variable here. Then next finally I am having quantity. Quantity as of now I am just going to give 0. Okay, later on we are going to increase the quantity whenever user sends the information inside the cart, and whenever user pays for that one, that time user can give this quantity. Okay, later on we are going to see how to give that. Now once we write this query, we have to execute that one. I will copy the same variable. I will paste that one. I will copy this variable. Instead of this I am just going to paste that one. Now once the item is inserted, I will copy this, and here I will be pasting that one. Again I should be redirected to index.php file. I will save this. I will refresh this one. Okay, now here I am having this add to cart. Let me just remove this. Now when I click on this add to cart button, it is not going to work because I have not called that function. Again I will come to index.php file. Now inside this index.php I am just going to call this function. I will copy this cart function, and wherever you want you can just call that function. I will just come here. I will just come to navbar. Below this navbar I will just write one comment calling cart function. Okay, you can call anywhere. Now below this I will be writing this PHP syntax. Now inside this I am just going to call that cart function. Okay, this is how we are going to call. I will come here. I will refresh this one. Now when I click on this add to cart, okay, here I am having undefined variable IP address. Okay, let me just check for that. Inside common function, okay, here I have to change. Here I have just changed this variable, so I will just copy this one, and here I am just going to paste that one. Now I will come. I will refresh this one. Again on 298 I am having some error. Let me just check for that. On line 298. Now IP address, the data type of IP address is varchar, so I will just wrap inside single quotes or double quotes. Okay, double quotes I am not going to use. I will just wrap inside single quotes. Now I will come here. Now if I refresh this one, okay, that everything has gone. I will just remove this. Again I will just click on add to cart. Okay, directly I am getting this add to cart. Let me just check inside the cart whether this data is present inside the cart or not. Okay, inside this cart I am getting this data. Okay, whatever data I have clicked, that data I am getting, but you can see I am not getting any message. Now let me just come here. Again I am not redirected to index.php. Again I have to come. We are just going to fix that one. I will click on add to cart, then add to cart 3. I will come here. I will refresh this one. you can see again that item is added. Okay, product ID is stored and also we are having this IP address. Okay, the data is successfully getting stored, but we are not having any indication that that data is stored inside the database or not. So for that, let me just check. I'll just close the left panel. Now before that, let me just explain you whatever we have done. We have just created this function variable, and wherever we are having this add to cart button, we have just added this one. Okay, index.php, I have just created add to cart get variable, and inside that we have just passed this product ID. Using this, whichever product I clicks, that product ID will be accessed and that product ID will be stored inside the cart page. Okay, that is cart table. Now here I am just checking for this condition. If this add to cart is set, then I am just making this connection variable as global. Okay, let me just check for the spelling add to cart, and here we are having added to cart. Okay, spelling is correct. Then here below that I am just calling this get IP address function. Now using this function, we are going to get the IP address. As of now, I am working inside localhost, so the IP address will be displayed like this. Okay, ::1. Okay, I have just called that IP address, and whatever result I am getting, I am storing inside this variable. Now here, whatever value I am having inside URL, I am just accessing that one. I am storing inside this get products variable. Now here I am just checking for the condition. Okay, before that you can directly insert this one. You can just run this query. Insert into cart details. We are having product ID, IP address and quantity. Here I am having these values. Okay, here everything I have passed. First I am just passing this product ID. Whatever value is stored here inside this variable. Inside this variable, whatever value it is stored, I am just passing, I am just storing that one. Then we are having get IP address, and then finally we are having this 0. Then here we are having this result query, MySQL query. Then finally we are having this connection variable. Once we have returned this one, I am just executing this one. Once it is successfully executed, then I should be getting this message. Okay, window open. I should be redirected to index.php file. Now here I have just given here single quotes. Whatever you want, you can give. Okay, now here I am just inserting the data inside the database. Now let me just copy this one, and below this I am just going to paste. Now here I will be writing this message, item is added to cart. I'll save this. Okay, now I have just displayed this one, item is added to cart. Then finally we are having this one. Whenever I click on OK, I should be redirected to index.php file. Okay, now once the item is added, then I am just checking for this condition. I am just checking whether this item is already present inside the database or not. So here I am just checking this one, select star from cart details, where IP address, okay, whatever IP address the user is having, I am just checking for that one, and also the product ID. Okay, whatever product ID is already stored inside the database, again that should be not stored. Again that product should not be inserted inside the cart. So here I am just checking for two conditions. If both this condition matches, here I am going to get some result. Okay, I will be getting some rows. So here I will be counting the number of rows. If that is greater than 0, then this message should be displayed for me. Okay, this item is already present inside the cart. And once this message is displayed and when I click on OK, I should be redirected to index.php file. After finding the error for 10 minutes, I finally found here I have done this mistake. I have not closed the script tags. I am just going to close here. I will be closing here, and also I am just going to close here. Okay, sometimes even if we are having silly mistakes, it will take lot of time to figure where we have done wrong. So you should be careful. If you are finding errors and if you are not getting, you don't have to panic. Just sit down calmly. Just try to solve wherever you can find. If you are not able to solve, you can find the solutions inside many websites. You are going to have plenty of solutions inside Stack Overflow, inside GitHub. You can find as much as solutions you can, and you can get the result. Okay, I have just done the silly mistake. I have just not closed this script tag, so I was not getting that alert. Now again I will come back. I will just come back. I will refresh this one. Now when I click on this add to cart, you can see this item is already present inside the cart. Okay, now because capsicum, let me just check for this ID. Capsicum ID, it should be either 1 or 3. Okay, because only 3 items are there. You can see capsicum ID is 3. So whenever I add again, I will be getting this message, this item is already present inside the cart, and also the IP address is stored, and the quantity is 0. Okay, because we have not given any quantity yet. Now I will just add this one, add to cart shoes. You can see item is added to cart. Again I will click on OK. I am redirected to index.php file. Okay, this is the static data. This cart, whatever you can see, this is the static data. Still we have not displayed this data. Okay, we have just added the items inside the cart. Okay, again for better understanding, let me just explain you. I have just created this function cart, and inside this, okay, inside this add to cart button, I have just passed the get variable add to cart, and inside this I am just accessing the product ID. Okay, whichever product ID I clicks, that product ID I am accessing, I am storing inside this get variable. Now here I am just checking that one. If that get variable is active, I am just making this connection variable as global, and here I am just calling this get IP address function, and inside this variable I am just going to store whatever value I am going to get. Okay, the value is nothing but this one. Okay, whatever IP address is stored here, that is the value. Okay, this value I am storing inside this variable. Then here using this, okay, using this get method I am accessing the value, whatever value I am having inside this URL. Whenever I click on this add to cart, whatever value I am having here, I am just accessing that one. I am storing inside this get product ID variable. Okay, now after that, after this one, directly you can insert the product. Let me just comment this entire thing, and also I will be commenting this one. Okay, now what I have done, after getting all the values, I am inserting the product inside the database. Okay, insert into cart details, I am having product ID, IP address and quantity as the columns. Okay, whatever columns I have given for this table, product ID, IP address and quantity, I am just passing that one. Then here I am just writing values. Okay, this is the insert query. Then for product ID, I am just passing this product ID, whatever I am getting from the URL. Okay, for this, if you want to make primary, you can make. If you want to give auto increment, you can give, or you can just ignore that one. Then next for IP address, I am just passing this IP address, whatever value I am getting here, I am just passing that one. And for quantity, as of now, I am just passing here 0. Then once it is done, I am just executing this query. If this is successful, I should be getting this message, item is added to cart, and then I should be redirected to index.php file. I will save this. Now if I just come here, now I will just refresh this one. Now capsicum was already added. Now when I click on this capsicum, again you can see here I will be getting this message, duplicate entry 3. Okay, I don't want this message should be displayed. So for that, we are just writing this condition. I will just remove this, and also I am just going to remove this. If this ID was not primary, then again capsicum data would have been stored inside the database. So for that, we are just checking for this condition. I am selecting all the details from the database, and here I am just taking the condition where IP address is equal to IP address whatever is available inside the database, and this product ID. Okay, if this ID is already present inside the database, I am checking for both the conditions. If both the condition matches, I am going to get some result. If I am getting result, then I will be having the number of rows. Okay, if I am having 1, 2, 3, based on the requirement, I will be having the rows. If I get any result, then here I am just checking the condition. If that number of rows is greater than 0, then I should be displaying this item is already present inside the cart. And once I click on OK, I should be redirected to index.php file. Okay, first you can write insert query, then you can write this select query to select the data from the database. Okay, related to this, we have seen many examples. So directly I started from select query. Okay, if you want to start from insert query, you can do that one, or you can start from here. Okay, it completely depends. If you understand this one, then from wherever you want, you can start. Okay, it doesn't matter from where you have started. The only thing matters is you have to get the result. Okay, now we are successfully able to do. Now I'll just remove this one. I'll refresh this. Now I'll just insert capsicum again. You can see this item is already present. Now that error has gone. I am redirected to index.php. I'll click on dairy milk. Item is added to cart. Okay. Again I am redirected to index.php. Now inside this cart, all the details will be stored. You can see all the 4 details will be stored, and second data I have not added. I have just added 4 items, and that items are stored inside the cart. Okay, this is how we are going to create cart function, and wherever you want you can call this function. Okay, in any file wherever you want you can just call this function. And also we have to do one change. Inside this, whenever I click on this view more button, inside product details.php, I don't want this view more. So I'll just come here. Inside view details, here I am having this view more button. Now instead of view more, I am just going to write here go home. Go home, and also I'll just write here index.php file. I'll just remove this one. I'll be writing index.php. I'll save this. Now if I refresh this one, you can see here I am having go home. When I click on this, I will be redirected to index.php. Again when I click on view more, I will be redirected to products.php, and here I am having go home button. Okay, this is how we are going to work. We are done with this cart function. Okay, here static data I have displayed here. Now we are going to display the dynamic data of the cart. How many items are present inside the cart, everything we are going to display, and for that also we are going to create separate function, and using that function we are going to display all this data. Okay, now we are done with this. If you want to call this cart function in any other file, then also you can do that one. I'll just come to common functions. From here I'm just going to copy this function. I'll just copy this cart function. Better I'll just come to index.php. I'll just copy this one. Inside product details.php, below this navbar I'm just going to paste that one. I'll just do control B. Inside this select product also I'm just going to call this function. Okay, wherever in whichever file you want, you can just call that one. I'll refresh this. Now when I click on view more, I am redirected to product details.php, and here also now when I click on add to cart button, it will work. Okay, it will work completely fine. I will not be having any issues because I have called this function. Now we are done with this. We are done with this cart function. Now next we are going to see how to display the cart items. How many items I am having inside the cart. We are going to see how to display that number of items.